When meeting someone for the very first time, perhaps the most vital and important information you receive about them is their identity. We ask, "What is your name?" Hi, this is Barry Phelps with 10-Minute Torah, day 1 of the Torah portion, Shemot. And we began today in Shemot, or Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1 through 7. And these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Mitzrayim with Yaakov, each one with his household: Reuben, Shimon, Levi, and Yehuda, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all those who were descendants of Yaakov were 70 beings, as Joseph was already in Mitzrayim. And Joseph died, and all of his brothers, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased very much, multiplied, and became very strong, and the land was filled with them. My thoughts may be a little bit poignant today, a little philosophical perhaps, but hang with me. Sitting here a few moments ago, I began to think about all the songs in recorded history that talks about names. Being a guy out of the South, Leonard Skinner wrote songs saying, "What's your name, little girl? What's your name?" And that, for some reason, is just kind of rolling around in my head. Some of us were named particularly after an ancestor, grandfather, father, aunt, uncle, somebody. Sometimes we were named in regards to a particular event. Sometimes people were named just because the parents liked the flow and the poetic flavor of the name. And sometimes you just pick a name, just pick one. They're all good. And so we were named for something. But that name then becomes a part of our identity. We introduce ourselves and we say, "My name is Barry." We take that on as, "This is who I am." But when you look in the mirror, when you examine your life, when you sit contemplating who you are and what you think and how you feel about something, it's more than a name. It's your personality. It's your nature. It's your experiences. It's your particular yearnings and cravings and desires and dreams and visions. And all of that list of ingredients goes into the mix to create you. So who are you? And where are you going? And what's this all about? And what's important to you? And how do you know when you have achieved some significant something that you can say, "There, I did that. I was able, with Yah's help, to get that done." Those are mile markers that we leave for those who follow after us, because as careful as we are to make our footprints in the earth, as decisive as we are about right, left, straight ahead, wait, go now, all of those life decisions, as we go, we are leaving a path, blazing a trail, so to speak, for someone to follow. It could be your next generation or generations. It could be those that appreciate your path and want to join you on it. But Yah knows us. And when we read of these names, it says these are the names. This is the identity. When we go back to the birth of these particular men that are named for us, each one was named by their mother for a reason. Some struggle, some accomplishment, some ambitious hope for the future. Joseph was named Joseph because it means to add. And so Raquel named him Joseph, believing that there were more children to come, not realizing that the next child would take her life. So these people are significant. They have had very important roles to play. They have been very strategically timed and placed. not only in their birth, but also in their living and now in their legacy. Yaakov, also known as Israel, another significant name change, decreed in last week's Torah portion, "Don't leave me in Mitzrayim. Take me back to the cave Machpelah and bury me there." Joseph, in his last words, as we read the end of Bereshit, or Genesis chapter 50, he says, You're going to leave here. Elohim will certainly visit you, and you shall bring up my bones from here. Like his father, he did not want to be buried in Mitzrayim. As far as we know, not seeing any difference here, as far as we know, the rest of the family was buried in Mitzrayim, or Egypt. They never made it out. That means that they're still there somewhere today. They're not forgotten. Yah remembers them just like it was 5 minutes ago. He is eternal. He is everlasting. He is always present. The past is as instant to him as our future. And so these people's lives were important. They are important. They will be important. Where I'm going with this is people. They had hopes, they had ambitions, they had personalities, they had preferences, they had particular nuances and peculiarities about them. People liked them, people didn't like them. I mean, they made impact in their world and their environment, and they're named for us. In Matthew chapter number 1 and verse number 21, the messenger says, "And she shall give birth to a son, and you shall call his name Yeshua, for he shall save his people from their sins." Yeshua wasn't called Moshe or Abraham or David or any other previous name that we are aware of. He was called Yeshua, a condensed version of the name Yehoshua, because the name means salvation, a nuance of salvation. And so he was named as such because that was his mission, to save his people from their sins. When we go to Matthew 16, Yeshua is asking his disciples, "Do you know who I am? Who do you think I am?" And Shemot said, "You are the Messiah. You are the Son of the living Elohim." He's just not saying you're a promised deliverer who's come in human form to deliver us, but he adds that understanding, you're B'nai Elohim, the living Elohim. You're more than humanity. This is a revelation that it takes the spirit of Messiah to reveal to him. Yeshua then in verse 18, after he said, "Flesh and blood didn't give this to you, but my Father in the heavens," he said, "I say to you that you are Kepha." Now it says earlier, Shimon Kepha. He was called Shimon at birth. Now he's called Kepha. The Greek version of that is Peter, more commonly known, but the Aramaic that was spoken in that day is Kepha, and it means a sizable stone, a stone suitable as a foundation stone for a building. Yeshua was not saying upon you as a foundation stone, but rather upon the foundation stone, Kepha, your identity. You know this idea well, this sizable stone, this revelation of who I am. I will build my assembly. Not upon a man. God does not build his kingdom upon a man, with man, but not upon man. You're important. You were born for a purpose. You have things to accomplish. You have a life to live and people to influence and a path to leave, that someone else can follow in your footsteps and go further than you did. Live up to the name that Yah has given to you. I'll see you again tomorrow. To then, shalom.